Can you talk to me a little bit about what your experience has been like in such a high profile fashion industry when it comes to the Black Lives Matter movement, when you see your colleagues staying silent on things that are important and need to be spoken about?
As far as colleagues, I've seen a tremendous support, and
Yeah.
I am so grateful that they're speaking on behalf of everyone, because I think at this point it's the right thing to do. It's not much to ask for everyone to be treated equal and have, like the same playing field. So when it comes to peers, is like you do see that it's more sometimes the companies that they don't know how to navigate the waters. Like they're afraid of like rocking the boat, or if I say this, is it going to be taking in the wrong context? But it's like if you do stay silent, it as well as can be infuriating and offensive. So I think at this point it's just, do what you can and make it feel authentic and not part of a propaganda. Don't jump on a bandwagon because everyone's doing it and you don't want to be left behind.
Can you talk to me a little bit about one of your maybe experiences in the industry when it comes to whether it's discrimination or just feeling different? I know I have my own, like working on camera in any capacity, when you don't look like everyone else, either you're treated differently or there aren't sometimes the resources or the makeup or even the tools to help your beauty, your natural beauty shine through. So I'm sure you have a plethora of experiences, but is there anyone that sticks out?
I mean, you said it yourself, like, let's say makeup, for instance. There were times that, people talk about microaggressions where I would go into a shoot or a show and, my job is to either model, walk, or whatever. So I have my responsibilities. If a makeup artist is part of a team, your responsibility is to have an array of things. And they would say, oh my God, but your skin is so beautiful, you don't even need makeup. Nah, not a backhanded.
Girls got it. I want the makeup too.
That girl just got a full beat down, so now you just let me. I'm like, oh. It's like telling a model, did you bring your camera to shoot yourself? Like what was being here if you didn't have my makeup? Like I could have done my makeup myself, so there was no need for you to be here. You guys, so it was through that, or like, with the hair, they were always like, you know what, let's just, your face is just so, let's just always bring it back. When it came to covers, I would always see, my counterparts, they always had the seductive, super sexy, like voluminous, ba ba boom. And then when it came to me, it was like always like, yeah, it's too much. It's too, and I was like, what are you trying to control? What are you trying to hold back? Like, you should, I should be in the same playing field. Like, don't try to simplify me because you feel that's the way, Black should be represented. It was always the optics of someone who didn't see us in a different light. I came across a lot of that. And just people just also, I was blessed enough to have an incredible group of people, from photographers to designers to stylists and editors, that gave me so much support at the beginning, and it gave me a consistent body of work that people couldn't question what I was going to do. But there were still conversations where they were saying, yeah, I don't know if we're ready to go in that direction. This brand has
that direction.
You know what I mean? That direction. Or I would go to shoots and the lighting would be so off, and I'm like, I don't look the same. I don't have the same skin tone, so you should treat it differently. And if you don't know, then you should put effort to learn to make me feel as comfortable as everyone else does. Or, like when you're in it, a lot of the times you don't even know what you're doing, right? Like I came from a little island in Puerto Rico. I just wanted to succeed. I wanted to, have a good career. So you're like, and then you're like, I'm going to do, I want this. And then you realize that you get to certain obstacles, or that let's say for instance, I shot a Chanel campaign.
Mm-hmm.
How many years ago. I'm bad with numbers and with years. And I was like, oh my God, it's a big deal. It's with Karl Lagerfeld. May he rest in peace. And that was a big deal for me because it was like, oh my God, Chanel. And I did the campaign and I was like super ecstatic. And the campaign came out and someone did the research and it said I was the first Black model to have shot the Chanel campaign, and don't quote me. I don't know if it was 15 or 18 years.
Wow.
And I didn't know that. So it was like, it was breaking the barrier. And I was like, wow, like, you know, it like catch you on your tracks because you don't know what's happening. And then I had this experience that I was at a party in Paris and an agent came to me and he's like drinking a little bit. And I wasn't, because I was like in, you know, going out mode of like hitting what party, making sure I like spoke to people that of me on the block. And he told me he felt so comfortable saying, I spoke to Karl Lagerfeld and I told him, there's no way you're going to shoot an N-word for the Chanel campaign.
You are joking.
I wish I was.
He said that to you?
Correct.
Wow.
And I was like, one, you don't know how to react because you're like in shock because you're like, wait, did this really just happen to me? And did he feel so comfortable to say this to my face? And like, is this how people speak? And just so many thoughts are in my head. And I'm kind of like a new model on the block. So it's like, obviously I can't pop off because that's what they're saying, right?
Exactly what people
the
want you to do.
angry Black woman. And I was like, you know what, Joan, compose yourself. Your father said, you know, if they hit you low, don't go down to their level. And I was like, oh, wow, interesting. And ever since I disliked that agent because of that. And I was, I made him aware that I didn't want to be next to him. I didn't want his presence. He then later denied and said, he was like, no, I would never say that to you. And I was like, right, because I feel like making it up. Like I feel like putting myself in a situation that makes me feel uncomfortable. And it's like, why would you say that to a young woman that's trying to make it in an industry that already looks at her a certain way? Like, are you trying to create self-doubt or trying to break me down? Like, what was the point of you using that word? And what were you reminding a photographer and a creative director of a brand that that's not the direction to go in?
Exactly.
Like, so many things that I was like questioning and like, I couldn't believe it. And I was like, all right, this is how you see me. Great.
That was wild. But what is so awesome and inspiring is in spite of all of that, and I love what you said about microaggressions, right? Because we, especially as Black women, Black men, but speaking from my own personal experience, we learn to navigate that so well and to keep other people comfortable with their own, you know, prejudices and insecurities, because very oftentimes we can't afford to rock the boat or speak up for ourselves. And so what's really empowering about this moment is we are holding people accountable and they're having to rise to that challenge of accountability. I mean, you've talked about all of your covers. You've worked with Vogue a ton throughout your career. Recently, obviously, Anna Wintour made an apology to Black creatives for their treatment at the magazine. What did you think about Anna's statement? Did you believe it? Did you see where she was coming from? Did you feel like, okay, this is a step in the right direction? What were your thoughts on that?
My thoughts is like on everything. Like, I appreciate people's acknowledgement and where they feel they could have done more. And I think that's a good step to have. My questioning is why does it always take it to be at the end of something or something to explode for you to finally acknowledge or have it in retrospect and be self-aware of what's happening? Like, while it's happening, why couldn't you actually put in the effort? You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't get to this point for you to realize what was happening.
Yeah. I mean, why do you think it took so long, even for a Black photographer. You know, I think it was Beyonce's cover the first time in the history of Vogue, I think, right? Do you wonder yourself why that took so long? Did you ever have any experiences at Vogue?
I mean, there's not that many Black photographers that I've worked with either.
Wow.
You know, I think it's hard to break into an industry where, you know, there it tends to be a little bit elitist, right? So you're
Mhm.
always going to have a group of photographers, which by, you know, like they are deserving of being in that space because they did work hard and they have an extreme body of work and respect within the industry. So they are deserving to be there. I would never take that away from anyone. But at the same time is like, are you creating space for new
Mm.
opportunities, or are you making sure that there isn't any space? Are you,
Right.
you know, like part of being in a position of power is to lend your platform and empower other people, not hold them back. Um, so when it comes to that, is it's tricky. It's
Mm.
so tricky because, like, you know, when you mentioned Vogue, Vogue was one of my supporters, and I did work with them a good amount, and that was how I was able to like get to a certain status. So it's like, could they have done more? Absolutely. I
Mhm.
feel like, you know, it's just putting thought when even you look at the fashion weeks.
Yeah.
Now you see more numbers of Black and brown and Asians and different colors, but is it
Still
because
very
everyone's really
yeah.
holding them accountable, or is it, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's just,
Absolutely. Exact. Would you have done this had your hand not been forced? And I feel like we know the answer is no, we would not have because we didn't for so long. And that's just across the board, across industries. Unfortunately, sometimes people don't move until they're made to. Before we segue, I want to talk a little bit about your message for young Black and brown girls and boys, especially coming into the fashion industry. But there's obviously a lot of debate right now, changings of guards, if you will. There's debate about Anna Wintour and whether or not she should step down. What do you personally feel on that matter? Do you think it's time for new blood there? Do you think it's just time for, you know, her to maybe lead the charge with the change? What are your opinions?
um, I mean, obviously, she has done so much for the magazine and for fashion itself. I think it would be interesting for her to take under her wing a group of people to kind of
Mm,
show them the ways and actually help them navigate those waters. You
right,
know,
right,
be an alliance and not just like, okay, fully step down here, you figure it out.
right.
So like, if that is her plan of stepping down, just like make a mark before you go and
Mm,
help encourage others. Like, I don't know,
right.
I think that there could be growth
Mhm.
there before you like decide to like cancel someone out. But that's
Right,
just me.
right,
You know,
right.
there's much more to learn and gain when someone can give can give some of their wisdom.
On a much lighter note, as I let you go, Gigi's pregnant. She made the announcement. You don't have to ask if y'all are pregnant. Did you have any idea how excited are you for her? Like any well wishes?
Oh my God, Gigi, she is like the most giving, nurturing person you will ever meet. She always makes sure everyone around her is like filled with happiness and joy. So it's like, I know she's gonna be the most incredible mom. Even when we would go out, she was the first one to leave. I would always call her grandma. I was like, okay, grandma. And then she would like laugh about it. She's like, okay, grandma got to leave. So it's like, I already know she's going to be so adorable. I can't wait to meet that little bundle of joy. And,
Mm,
you know, these are exciting times. And especially she's been using her platform in
yeah.
such a good way. Like, she is going to raise the future of this world. So it's wonderful to see how she's starting to mold that world
Yeah.
and believe it to be positive. So
Yeah.
uh,
It's special, special times. I'm really excited about this new initiative you have. It's so important. So talk to us a little bit about Donate Your Wage.
obviously this was a lot of sleepless nights. I had an amazing team of Alex and Victoria help me, you know, come up with this in like a short span of time. And basically it just came from a place of frustration and being in an industry where, you know, we sell a dream of, you know, look at this fantasy world. And in these trying times, it just didn't feel right to continue to promote that. You know what I mean? And I feel like as a person, when you want to have self-growth, you should do things with a purpose. So I was like, how can I do more? You know, how can I give back to a community that I am a part of, that like, I know what it feels like to have your own limitations in whatever industry. So I was like, you know, well, I guess for now, all I can do is, you know, give up my money. So whenever I post something, I wanted to donate half of my wage. And, you know, to Alex and Victoria, we came across this group in Nashville that already had created a website, because it was, remember when it was geared to the music industry? And basically the company is called Flight View, and they're like, we have this platform, and I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible, because I'm thinking the same way. It was just the same synergy. I'm like, this makes sense. And they were like, it is yours to have. And I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
So then I was like, okay, so at least now I know, because I think also we never know where to donate. And I think it could be, you know, a lot of information in a short span of time. So I tried to get as much information as I could. They already had like a list. And I just wanted to make sure to include organizations that I also believed in, and things that I feel should be represented or that speaks to me, which is female empowerment, about the justice system, education, I think is very important, because I have a college degree, so I understand how education is a good fundamental thing to have in our community. So it was like different things, and I basically came out and said, guys, this is my experience, and this is the ups, the downs, and it's not only about complaining, it's also about taking action. This is me taking action, and taking it a step forward, and hopefully people can like join in. And then my agency decided to pledge $250,000. I was like,
amazing. Yeah, I saw that. $250,000 to important causes. That's so great. And you, I don't think you quite mentioned, but significant chunk, right? We're talking 50% of your salary through the year is what you've donated or committed to donating, correct?
Yeah. From
That's
now.
amazing.
Yeah. So, you know, it's also it helps create awareness, and for brands also to have the experience of knowing where they can help. You know, because I think companies tend to make so much money off of all of us. So it's like, okay, now give back to those same communities, show your support, show that you do believe that we all deserve equal rights. And if I can help that conversation through, then, you know, I'll be so honored to be part of that.